and Mum were driving home in the car, and we were talking about what I could do for the competition. And I had an idea of putting the 3 disasters in one painting and putting a road through the middle to resemble that you're travelling on a road of disasters, and it just keeps going. My message for my painting is always stay positive in life, even though bad things happen. Life is a journey. Yeah, farm life is good. It can have a little bit of not so good, but mainly good. You're free and you don't have any neighbours or anyone. You don't hear anyone. Yeah, I do talk to my mum. She kind of helps me go through life a little, yeah. Yeah, I want to be an artist and an art teacher when I grow up. I want to teach kids how to do art and want to learn more about art and just draw more and paint more, yeah.
I just escaped to, well, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a peaceful place where you calmly do something. It makes me feel calm, it makes me feel happy. Yes, art is very important, especially for little kids to begin with, because it sparks an imagination for them, and it also inspires them to do stuff when they're older. Any colour that's not exactly just bland, it's kind of an inspiration for imagination, and it inspires brightness, happiness, peacefulness. My goal for the future is to become a veterinarian and to be able to help animals, help people who would prefer their animals to be healthy instead of sick. And to give hope to people who need it most.
Is art important? Yeah, I think it is. It's important because it's an expression of the self. It helps define who you are and show everyone who you are and creates an individual in the process. Well, relationships do play an important part in these times because, well, without someone to hold you up and help you along in a trying time, you'd just stumble over and fall into a pit of sorrow and despair. Well, the idea behind these pictures was really I wanted to show something that was hopeful, but I wanted to show something that showed the suffering of the individuals that are going through this event. It's just something to show the hardships, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'd like to think the picture does show hope, but then again, that's up to the viewer in the eye of the beholder. Well, I like to think that the mother koala climbing up the tree out of the smoke and the embers and flames, to protect her baby, it's to protect her future, and the tree's burned and broken, but it's still there and supporting her. And that's really what matters. I kind of chose this image of the koalas just because, really, I saw the poor little buggers walking across the scorched and burning road on the news one night with my mum on TV, and it really hit me. It's just, look at these poor little things, they're suffering so much, and I mean, you just want to reach in and pull them out and help them. Just hug them, tell them everything's all right, give them some water, scratch behind the ear. Yeah, I can relate that to the human experience. I mean, everyone needs a bit of help in a trying time. It's just human nature to want help, even if you don't feel like you want it. You still, deep down, you really know you need it. to want to give help. It's something very fulfilling, and being able to actually help someone or something, it's really something you should strive for.
I like taking photos of the animals because then I can show everyone at home what I saw, and I usually go down around the paddock and the creek where most of the birds are near the water. Down near the creek with our cousins and that, we made a little stick hut sort of by a dead tree. And I sometimes use that just to sit in there and wait for some birds to come to me. I usually wear a camouflage jumper and pants along with boots because it's a bit muddy and wet down there. Depends on the weather and the day. Sometimes it takes a little while, but sometimes they're already there. I go down the creek with my grandma sometimes, and she also brings her camera, so we both take some photos down there. I usually go down there after school, and depending on if it's rained, it's sometimes flowing, but not really usually. In summer it's usually really dry. But in the winter there's lots of birds down around in the water, especially ducks and water birds.
Well, I chose that subject because I thought it would be nice after all the fires to see everything blooming again up in Sydney. So when I went up to Sydney not long ago, I saw them blooming and just coming out of the shells. So when I came back, I'm like, that would be great to do for art of resilience. I use watercolour pencils, so I coloured it in really dark and then I just went over it with just a little bit of water to make it stand out. I have a tree like that in my garden, just out the front of my house. Well, art makes me relax, and it gets me in my happy place when I'm drawing and painting and colouring. So that's the thing I like about art. I do think art is important because, well, without art we wouldn't really be in the place we'd be right now, because art is used everywhere. Yes, I would like to continue my art in the future. I would like to maybe paint and draw more flowers and plants maybe, just so they can maybe go in more competitions in the future. I do talk about art with one of my friends, and we really like art, so it's really nice to know that she's supporting me there too.
Well, a drought means like the feeling of water, because if you don't have water, there's not really much you can do, because water's like basically number one priority. Yes, I do think it's important to save water, because if we don't save water, it's not really gonna be much that we can do again, because if we don't have water, we, 1, can't brush our teeth, 2, can't have baths, 3, can't make crops grow, 4, like, can't let cattle live, and yeah. Yes, I do think photography can capture the crisis, because if you take a photo, or if you draw it, or if you make a poem or a song about it, it like savors it. And if you don't like take recognition of it, not many people are gonna like realize that it's happening. What I do on the farm and what I like on the farm is like going out and going to check on the goats. My sister, she's got a goat, and whenever we go out, it follows us. So yeah, it's kind of like a little dog. And it's pretty fun, because like you've got a lot of other beings there, not just humans, and you don't really know how they're gonna act, if they're gonna be friendly or if they're gonna like be frightened, or yeah. I do think that like either dancing or photography or drawing is important, because like it gets your mind off things and it's an activity. I like hip hop because it's fast, but not too fast, and you can make up like sort of breakdancing, but yeah, not completely.
I like to do art, photography, and a bit of embroidery too. I like photography because it expresses my emotions in just pictures. I like to photograph life and the living. With my drawing, I like to draw cartoons, and I painted birds and rabbits and bees. But my personal favourite was my Princess Sunshine. She's always giving the world hope, even though she has no superpowers in the world. Yeah, she's got a nice little shirt with a lovely little sun, what represents hope. I definitely think that art is a language, and it's because art expresses your emotions when you're thinking, you're talking, but art is basically everywhere, so you're expressing your emotions almost anywhere. Living on a farm is like dust, a bit stressful but fun, a bit calming, and you've got plenty of space to play. We have plenty of chickens, getting some soon. We've got 2 puppies, ducks, cats, fish, all sorts of things. COVID-19 has affected me in a little bit. We all stay strong. It's in our nature. There's nothing better than going and seeing your friends, but if you can't go and see your friends, you can always FaceTime them. It's not human to actually, stay locked up. It's just not human. So you have to visit your friends every once in a while. Hope moves us forward. Smoke fills my eyes, replacing the dust. How much more before we all lose trust? I watch my life, the unbelievable. It's all too much. For us, we must be leaving. My heart hurts and sings. So this is what I think. We must be strong. We must go on like others before me. We must remember we are still free.
Day 2031. I'm hoping the situation's done. Back in the day, it wasn't all swell, as 2020 was complete hell.
It all started with droughts and fires. Decided the warlords were getting any higher. We tried our best to push through the pain. Then, of course, COVID-19 came. With death of Kobe Bryant, along with his daughter, they caught a plane right into the slaughter. After, of course, a black citizen was killed. Floyd was gone from an officer's will. Now we are stuck with protests with them only. Sad to see that black people are lonely. Then we found that our coral reefs are almost gone. Hope that soon will be forgotten. I hope it's better over there, even it's a scare that this year was the year of sadness. But now it's all gone, we're almost there to 21. I hope that year will be the best, but I'm gonna survive. After a while, at least we gave 2020 a try. A try, a try. We gave 2020 a try. As you may know, along with COVID-19, suicide was the solution for those younger than teens, as if that was gone, but we can't take back what happened in the past. Then people took what was off of the shelves, sure, like that will help. As I said at the start, it was the worst at the time. Most of it was sickening crime. Look at that, where a girl was sat, she was hurting, of course, from the sight of her mother with this cursed disease. Oh no. Now I discovered killer bees. I hope it's better over there, even it's a scare that this year was the year of sadness. But now it's all gone, we're almost there to 21. I hope that year will be the best, but I'm gonna survive. After a while, at least we gave 2020 a try. A try, a try. We gave 2020 a try. Yes, it's true. Masks were a thing. You couldn't leave your house unless you were willing to make a scene or hoping to die from a virus we know. I hate the year 2020 because... Day 2031. I hope I live to tell the story about how 2020 was dark and gory. Can't you tell that you was hell? I hope it's better over there, even it's a scare that this year was the year of sadness. But now it's all gone, we're almost there to 21. I hope that year will be the best, but I'm gonna survive. After a while, at least we gave 2020 a try. A try, a try. We gave 2020 a try. And even if it wasn't alright, we made it through 2020 every day and night. So 2021 will be here, and it's quite clear. I hope it's better over there, even it's a scare that this year was the year of sadness. But now it's all gone, we're almost there to 21. I hope that year will be the best, but I'm gonna survive. After a while, at least we gave 2020 a try. A try, a try. We gave 2020 a try.
The concept of the picture was, well, as the competition states, resilience. So I wanted to show how nature can bounce back after something traumatic such as a drought, as we are experiencing these days. I'd say to notice the changes in the environment and in our world, you would really have to take time to look at it all. Because on a daily basis, I don't notice certain changes until I actually take the time to just relax and look around. School and everything is just busy at the moment, so no one really has the time to pay attention to these things. How it affects me, it's my way of release. These days are very stressful and hectic, so when I do art, I just go into my own world. I forget about everything else around me and just enjoy myself. Do what I want to do. I can create anything. There's no limits. So I'd say, with my artworks, I don't have a specific message. I let the viewers and audience interpret it themselves. So I'd say with art, anyone can depict any sort of emotions, any message from anything. One might look at an artwork and see just pain and sorrow, and others might see some sort of hope that can come after all that. Yeah. Art is there's no limitation to it, in my opinion. There's no restrictions on what you can express through it.
You should respect the firefighters because firefighting is a dangerous job. You have to be brave to be a firefighter. We have to save water because there isn't an unlimited amount. Because if everyone use as much as they can or not thinking about it, there wouldn't be any left. And you need that water because you need to drink, you need to feed your animals, you need to water your crops. Keeping a safe distance means to stay 1.5 meters away from each other, because if you don't, you could spread the virus and then more and more people every day would get it and have a risk of dying. Stay strong, stay confident, keep happy.
Music is important in difficult times to me because it's just, you can just zone out and just go into a different world and focus on that song and just really just put your effort into it and just not think about anything else. I love music and I love listening to songs, and I just want to one day maybe like I have write songs. Yeah, so that's really why I've written the song, and just maybe tell people that everything's going to be okay. And yeah, the competition was called Art of Resilience, and I just thought of all the different things that Australia and now the world has gone through, and just kind of put them all into one song. So I named the song Focus because just we need to focus and stay strong and look at the bigger picture and the silver lining, and we're gonna eventually get out of this pandemic.
So in my drawing I did a lot of detail and a lot of resharpening of pencils and lots of different changes and lots of details that just took forever to get right. To create it, it took a lot of time. I really don't know how long. I just know it took a lot of time and effort and a lot of details that just took forever. It felt like forever to do. So on our farm, Mum does lots of the paperwork, Dad and I look after the animals, and my brother helps us feed all the babies. I like to look after the babies and see the animals grow up from little stragglers to big sheep, and the chooks just from when we see them at like the size of a 50-cent piece to a chicken laying eggs, like, yeah. I think being a farmer is important because we supply the food to the rest of the nation and supply wool and clothing and all that sort of stuff.
How I got the information from my poem was by taking little bits of information out of my own life and a little bit of information about how Parkes has gone through this COVID time and how we have adjusted and made our lives COVID safe. Some of the problems that I believe people have been facing since even September, October last year was the drought. I thought was a really big one and took a really big hit on most of the farmers here in Parkes, how no water, everything was so dry. I also thought that bushfires was also a very big one, as we had a couple around here, like the Blue Mountains, and we had a small one in Dubbo. I remember that was again sort of, you couldn't really go anywhere, you were sort of trapped again. You got stuck in the fire, couldn't go out, and that's what I thought was something that really took a big impact on little small country towns like Parkes. For me, poetry helps me in times of trouble it helps me express and even understand what's been happening. So if something big's happened in life, I believe that it's just easier for me to express it through poetry, and it's just easier for me to even understand it more. How I feel about dance is that it sort of helps me calm down and find my centre again, and it's something that I really enjoy, and that I know I can always dance if I need to. And because I do mostly ballet and contemporary, they're sort of really slow styles and it's really easy to express your emotions through them. Remember when? Let us try to remember this time last September when all was quiet and calm. Then all of a sudden the drought was upon us. The dry dust and sand swept out through all the land. Soon the water ran out and nothing came out on the spout. Then came the disease, which no one was pleased, with such might it came to us overnight. As we had the man, without a plan, while he sat and ate his bat, he got us into this mess, which has been our biggest test. It started off really small, with nobody worried at all, because we had other things to dread. It was said to be the worst fires of all. Nothing could stop it, nobody could, but nobody here was misunderstood. It was something that cost us tons, as Australia lost all its funds, and even still today, some families have a price to pay. It was truly devastating in every way. Then the trumpet sounded, as no more fires were founded, but call the paramedic, because here comes a pandemic. As more people became sick, the disease spread real quick. There was nothing we could do except wait until the day was through. Of what we once thought was our town, we slowly descended into lockdown. While we were all longing for the past, every day was worse than the last. As our colony found a new way to bloom, soon everything was over Zoom. Now, because of COVID-19, we are stuck in quarantine. Soon everyone started to stock up on their food. We were all in a panicked mood. All the toilet paper ran out on the shelves, while people only cared about themselves. But alcohol and liquor ran out even quicker. When our turn came, it caused everyone so much pain. We tried to push through it as best we could, as together we stood. Nothing and no one will ever be the same. As we continue to play this game, soon one day it will just stop, and just like that, we'll be back on top.
The flower in my picture represents the people that have died in the coronavirus crisis and the new life that's happening. One of my most treasured memories are my animals that I've lost. I've lost quite a few animals. My horse my horse went to another home. One of my budgies died. The cat that I really loved got bitten by a snake, and yeah, I've lost quite a few. I remember with my cat I remember when she laid up in my lap. I have a photo of that time, and my fighter fish, he'll always bury himself under the gravel, and every time I went up to the fish tank, he'll swim up to the top. My budgies, I used to bring them out on my bed on the sheets, and they'll eat the food and run around and that. Our world has been turned upside down, all because of COVID-19. People are losing loved ones. People are having to hide behind a mask. The rose represents someone who has died during these times, and a girl hiding behind a mask, and two quotes saying and explaining how hard it has been. When someone you love becomes a memory, that memory becomes a treasure. It's so hard having to hide our smiles behind a mask.
I'm a sixth generation farmer, and I like most things about the farm except from the drought that we've been having. Most of the time it's pretty good, but yeah, the tractor driving's the best and the sheep's pretty good. One day I got a call from my dad, and he said that there was a weird storm coming up on the horizon, and so I got my drone out and took it up. Then I got my little GoPro camera, put it in the middle of the paddock, then took a time lapse of it. Well, I had the drone up, took a few photos and a video, and that's how I got the photo. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, we had a lot of little dust storms, but this was the biggest one. Just got the drone back in time before it came over. I just got back inside, and then pretty much everything went dark, and it was like, I don't know, pretty quiet and dark for the next 2 hours. My business is about taking photos and video for farming and also real estate and solar farms. Yeah, I bought a drone about 4 years ago to take video and photo of around the farm and for photos for people and videos. Yeah, I saved up for shoveling sheep manure and also raising potty lambs. I have a few friends interested in photography and videography, and they've been helping me around the place. They've been like reviewing my videos, and a few of them even took about the same photo of that dust storm, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, my parents have been pretty supportive along the whole experience. Yeah, my mum helped me make the logo, and my dad's been showing me around the place, like the farm, what to take photos of, and he's even stopped the tractor a few times to take a few photos of it.
I got the idea from what I would see on the farm, me friends' farms and me family member farms, and what I would see out in the paddock. And sometimes there might be a cow head or a sheep that's passed away, and I'd get some inspiration from that and see new life growing from that. And that's where I got the idea for this artwork, for the bullhead, to have flowers, natural flowers that you would find just out in the bush, in the scrub, and just drew them with a bit of colour growing out of the skull. They are important, the cycles, because when something old passes, something new and beautiful grows from it, which is great to watch because it's very visual and other people see it easier learning visual than learning with words, and I'm one of those people that finds it more appealing to learn through a visual experience than a learning with a book. I like doing drawings and that, and I could learn to be an architect if I want to learn that in the future. I would like to learn new skills, anything that seems interesting, I'll give it a go and have a crack at it and have fun with it.
Farmers are important because they grow all the grains and all the crops for us to eat and sell or do whatever with. What I like about photography is the creativity side. Like, you don't know what you'll find to photograph next or what it's going to turn out like. What I like about my image is the end of the railway track, where you don't know where it's leading or where it's going, what it's doing or what it has on it. The track can go anywhere. It could go to shops to sell or to other farmers so they can eat it or sell it or feed to their animals or regrow. I don't know where the track is going, and that's what creates the mystery of the image. You can think anything. The colours in the image represent the drought, like the grass with the browns and the light oranges and all those colours. But the sky also represents the sun coming down, which is the drought as well. And the clouds could represent hope, if there could be rain coming to hopefully break the drought.
The techniques I used were just lines and lots of colour and like going with the lines kind of thing. The colours I chose were darker colours for the more gloomy side and then brighter colours for the more happy side. My superhero represents everyone blocking all the bad stuff that's been happening. COVID-19, the bushfires, drought. Everyone does get the chance to be a superhero because they can do it by helping others. There are other art forms I'm interested in, painting and clay. I used crayon with my artwork. I changed the grip on the way I held the crayon. Brave people can overcome anything. Just keep on trying and you'll get through it. Don't give up and imagine something better. Always stay strong. Always imagine something better.
Besides writing poetry, I also do team gymnastics, and we got a special routine and costumes, but we haven't been able to perform it because of COVID. I like writing poetry because I like mixing around with the words and making it make sense. I decided on the title Find the Sun because during the bushfires you had to really look carefully for the sun, and once you found it, it just looked like a dot in the sky. Blood red sky and unbreathable air. I got it because the fires are like red and like the flames, you could see them and it looked like red and I described it and stuff. And unbreathable air because of all the smoke and it just felt like you couldn't breathe sometimes. I've seen it on the news and I've seen images and stuff and it looked really like I described it in my poem. Find the sun. Blood red sky and unbreathable air. Thousands of homes burnt and people in despair. There's nothing left. Everyone's exhausted and anxious. We have to put the past behind us and move on. But here you are despite it all, despite the fires and COVID's call. Be proud of your persistence, your strength and resilience.
Art is important because it takes your mind off everything and you concentrate on what you're doing. You don't focus on anything else but art. Resilience. Don't look away from issues you know. No, learning to cope will help you to grow. You feel so alone, even at home. Dark times go. Remember to keep the flames aglow.
When the bushfires started, there was a lot of people affected by it and they looked so sad. So yeah, I made the girl in honourance of representing the children of Australia, witnessing the fires before them. I think it's really important because if there's no imagination, then you're only focused on the real world, and sometimes the real world can be hard. I love art and I like that you can express yourself. There's no limits to art and there's no right and wrong. It makes me feel calm, and sometimes my thoughts, they get bundled in my head and that's a bit overwhelming. So in art, when I do it, then I can just let them go. In my drawing, the girl's putting her hand on the window. She really wants to help the people outside, but sometimes you can't help them, even though you want to. I think people are really supportive to each other and will always lend a hand.
The main idea behind my artwork is about the resilience against drought, bushfires and COVID that had a significant impact on our community. So my artwork's pretty symbolic. It's made up of pretty much all symbols. And I'll start with the one in the top left corner. It's about the face of drought and the impact it had. So obviously the picture is the drought and the landscape, and the face represents how haunting and kind of hounding it was to people. And the dark colours also represent like how it was a bit of a dark time, especially for the farmers and people that owned the land. And then the one in the bottom left is about bushfires, and it's just how the trees are all burned and a lot of environments were lost. And also the colours in the background of my artwork represents that, because it's very earthy and a lot of the green was lost. And then in the person in the middle obviously represents an individual and the people in the community and what impact it had on them, the events. The COVID sign represents obviously the event of COVID, but the reason I put it as in it's a punch sort of thing is because after the drought and bushfires it kind of was another event and another issue to deal with and stuff like that. But and the dollar sign up the top that has a cross through it represents the financial loss and how it impacted not just individuals but also companies and mainly the farmers and all the money we lost with COVID and stuff. And then the last symbol, which is down the bottom right, I believe is probably the most significant, is because it's the tree growing from the rocks, and that represents regrowth and obviously the resilience we all had and came together. Yep. I think the thing that makes communities be strong is definitely support by each other and supporting each other and coming together. And if you know someone's struggling, like even financially, you donate or you do fundraisers for it, or even just coming, so just supporting each other and doing stuff to help each other. Yeah.
Well, I like about taking photos that you might get good ones, some days you might get bad ones, sometimes you might get middle ones. You know, it depends on if you got the right day or not. I like to photograph mostly stars, sometimes even a panoramic shot. It's basically where you take 3 photos, one over there, one over there, and one over there. Because you might see like only 1 or 2 in like parks, and some days you might find like 100 out of town. I've never seen anything special except for a shooting star. So you basically might see a star over there that might be coming down. You might see another star over there that's standing still. And basically what the shooting bit is, it's when it comes down very quick and you gotta make sure you make a wish. Well, I mostly do it because there's no people distracting you. Like if I was going at Barndong, I was going to take pictures of the river. People just come in the middle of you, and like kayaks will just ruin your photo straight away. That's why I like just taking stuff in hidden things where nobody knows about. Yes, I did enjoy being part of this competition. I'll definitely do it again if I had the chance. So we basically just like, if we see a million, like over 100 stars, we just get a tripod and a camera out, and then we basically get some olden date in the front of it. So, and then we just get photos and photos and photos of top of it, and we stack them all together. and that's what all the lines are. Most ones I enjoy are the Milky Way because once you add them all and then you print them off, they look so cool. I'd rather do it every day if I had a chance.
Well, I think the natural world is more important now than ever, particularly in the context of climate change. We're seeing a lot of alterations to said natural world, and I think people are starting to realise the importance of that sense of awe, that sense of being connected to our environment. A sense of awe is very important, I think. I've been reading a book recently called Phosphorescence, particularly about awe and the mental health benefits of it. For starters, a sense of well-being. A sense of awe brings lowered senses of depression and anxiety, from what I remember. And it's just important in the arts in general. It's what Romanticism was founded on. It's what people have drawn inspiration from for centuries. The arts has helped me immeasurably for a very long time. I've been a dancer for about 13 years now. I started when I was 3 years old. And in every hard period of my life, in every struggle, dance has been a sanctuary for me. And the same thing with writing. I think in the end it's just about communication, especially in a time when you're struggling to find a sense of self or comprehend some very confusing emotions. That ability to communicate cannot be understated. Well, teaching dance has been a very steep learning curve for me, particularly in the teaching department, because the kids that we take on, some of them are 2.5 to 3 years old. So managing kids has been quite difficult, but it's been very valuable for me in the sense of watching a kid try really hard to get a certain move or understand a certain concept, and then they finally start getting it, or you see the movement, and seeing the pride on a kid's face is really, really valuable. I have collaborated with a number of other artists, as in high school artists and stuff, and it's very important, particularly in a rural setting. It's been a bit hard to do that. Last year I was lucky enough to be selected for work experience at Sydney Theatre Company and Bell Shakespeare. And coming from a school where I haven't had the opportunity to have a proper drama class, it was incredibly refreshing to finally work with kids who actually care about the arts as much as I do, to have that opportunity to act with other kids, to reimagine scenes and construct sets and all of that. It was invaluable, yeah. Well, there's no doubt that it is harder to be involved in the arts or work in the arts in a small community, but yeah, that sense of support in a smaller community, I don't think you get that as much in a city, particularly in a more competitive environment when you're being paid by contract or just trying to get jobs. Well, taking opportunities is obviously very important for advancing your own skills and just advancing a sense of well-being and accomplishment. It is hammered into us a lot that we should seize opportunities, particularly at our high school. And I have tried to do that. Sometimes you have to seek them out for yourself though, which can be difficult, but there's no doubt they're there for whatever kind of skill set you have. I wandered. Deep and gentle folds of light catch the dry and spotted leaves that flutter down. Butterfly wings, broken, snapped. A cricket's breath from ruin. I watched. Time runs his hand through this sunlight, thick and gluggy custard air, drags his fingers and creates ripples that slice in flashes of the past, memories born of other minds. I faltered, burning. The sun had fallen like that ancient devil to the earth. His flattened face smeared the ground with red. The leaves to each own fiery halo raised and threw themselves like fallen stars from trees. I lingered. Flash forward now to wanderings through the graves, the stones, the blackened earth. But as I watch, the hateful light falls on new leaves, stubborn sticks that jut from black and ghostly trunks, ignorant of the firestorm that birthed them. Time, it seems, is nudging us. We watched the wattle burn.